you can only watch it for the first time once.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see what we catch and what we
Did
don't.
you ever play the video game Mass Effect?
This is where Babylon 5 is becoming Babylon 5.
That was great. I love that.
100% completely accurate, definitive ranking of Babylon 5.
I love it so much.
We're officially into it, Jeff.
The year is 2025. The name of the podcast, Babylon 5, for the second time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the second time. My name is Brent Allen.
And I'm Jeff Akin. Brent and I used to be Star Trek podcasters, but then we watched Babylon 5 for the first time, and everything changed. Now we're watching this incredible series for the second time, paying attention to all the things that we didn't know about or catch the first time around.
But don't worry, we are still doing that thing we do. Ooh.
Doing that thing you do.
Thank you. We are still searching for those sci-fi messages that we find in this series. You know, we're asking, what is this episode trying to tell us this time around? What do we pick up that maybe we missed the last time? Is there any mirror to society that it's holding up? Are there any messages that things can be better in the future? Is it telling us how to be better human beings to one another? All of that sort of stuff. Now, all of that being said, Jeff and I have seen this episode. This is the second time around, which means for us, from this point forward, everything is fair game. Everything from anything, from any episode to season, extra source material, any part from any part of the timeline through anywhere in the Babylon 5 universe or outside of the metaverse is fair game. So consider this your spoiler warning. If you have not seen Babylon 5 yet, stop. Right now, we'd normally say keep going, but we're going to tell you stop. Join us for Babylon 5 for the first time, and when you're done with that, come catch up with us here at the second time.
We're going to have a long one today, Brent. We're watching A Voice in the Wilderness Parts 1 and 2 in this one episode. We didn't know anything about this the first time we watched it, right? So when we watch it this time, we're going to be looking for all the little things they dropped or the cool little nuggets that we missed. Do you remember, though, what you thought about this the first time we watched it?
I do. What I remember more about this episode than the content contained within it was the controversy over whether or not you and I should have watched this together as one big episode or whether we should have done it as two separate episodes. I think we wound up choosing correctly for the first watch was to watch them separately, but we said back then, and I think we're continuing to choose correctly now, everything going forward, they will be combined as one watch. So that's my main memory, honestly, from this particular episode. Now that said, this episode makes me angry.
Okay.
It does. It makes me angry.
Tell me
because
about that.
Huh?
Tell me more about that.
Well, there are two huge things, Jeff, that we're not only introduced to, but this set of episodes centers around these two things, and that's Drawl and the Great Machine down on Epsilon 3. These are two things that I am so mad were not a bigger part of the story overall. I told you guys this is full, and I hear what you guys. Well, it's where Zathras did his thing, and he made the little things, and it's what all they wound up using it for was a big giant ass antenna.
Yep.
That was it.
Voice of the Resistance.
That was it. This was a thing that Sheridan said, I'm going to keep this in my back pocket. JMS, you cannot tell me you're going to keep it in the back pocket if you don't pull it out of your back pocket by the end. Cannot do it. Listen, you talk about the gun. If you're going to shoot a gun in Act 3, you need to see the gun in Act 1. And if you see a gun in Act 1, you got to shoot it by Act 3, Scene 2. You showed us the gun. You brought it back up again. You never shot the gun. So anyway, now that being said, I also remember really liking this episode in my ignorance, not knowing all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? My memory looking back on it, this episode pisses me off. But at the first time, I really liked this one. And so I'm really interested to see if a second watch kind of calms me down a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, now that I know what turns out, how it turns out, you know what I mean? So that's when I think back on this episode, that's what I get. How about you, Jeff?
I remember not feeling that strongly about the letdown of it never being used. Over in our Council Chambers chat, our Council Chambers subscribers to our Patreon are invited to join us for our recordings. It's awesome
they
having
do.
them here. They do. It's super cool.
Yeah.
But Trey in there says that thought it would have been a good telepath problem solver and get him off of Babylon 5. Tell them surface only, and Drawl can keep them, in line and from being Psychor. There's so many things this could have been, and it was nothing. So there's that. But I loved this episode. I remember loving it a lot, but not necessarily because of the story, but because of the character stuff. I loved Delenn and Drawl. I loved what we got out of Londo being like this real, cool pilot who could do awesome stuff. I remember getting to the end of part 1 and actually being excited to go see what happened in part 2. I really enjoyed it, the first part, quite a bit. I felt that in the part 2 that being a two-parter was entirely unnecessary. I thought that this was just like maybe a 52-minute long episode that they stretched into an hour and a half. And I don't remember much about the second part at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting you don't remember, because you know what, Jeff? I know.
You do, don't
At least I know what you said on our first watch. I don't know. I'm not inside your brain. I don't really know what you were thinking, but I know what you said. Would you like to know some of the things that we talked about our first time around watching this?
Yes, very much so.
Let's see here. Well, you really, really, really wanted to not see Drawl actually go out to the sea.
Okay.
Particularly going from part 1 to part 2. Like, he's going to go out to sea. Which was a euphemism for going out and dying, right? Like, that's what we kind of said it would be. You wanted more of him and Delenn in the story. Unfortunately, you would get a little, like 2 more episodes that sort of kind of featured it. You also somehow brought, you compared this a lot to Mars Attacks.
Okay.
And you called that movie an absolute classic. One I still have not seen.
Oh my God.
That's what you said the first time. That's what you said the first time.
That's a crime. That is a crime.
Right.
Adding it to the list.
Yeah, you're on the list. You just made the list. You had a new theory though, Jeff. Got the red string out. You had a new theory. You had a theory that Psychor has a not so secret base near the fighting that's happening on Mars. And that they were telepathically fueling the rebellion on Mars. That they were the ones trying to get everybody, get everybody psyched up.
Okay.
I had a few things. I 1,000%, I nailed it. And I don't know how anybody else couldn't have nailed it, because to me it was so obvious. I called that Drawl was going to become the battery at the end of part 2.
Okay.
It just,
Yeah.
that's what he was going to be. Like, it was all over the place. I pointed out the difference in the head bones on the Minbari. We didn't know that they were bones yet at that point.
Right.
Like, we were like, is it like a Ferengi headdress that they just throw back there? Because they don't look like bones. They look like there's something just set on their head, which is what they are in reality. I had a philosophical question we never came back to, Jeff, and whether you want to talk about it now or we want to save it for our after episode conversation, because I feel like this is this becomes a podcast episode of its own, where we're just discussing Babylon 5 in general. Okay. But I posited that Sinclair, Ivanova, and Garibaldi were Babylon 5's version of the Triumvirate Man. Like in Star Trek, you have Kirk, Spock, McCoy. Harry Potter, there's Harry, Ron, and Hermione. But, and here is it Sinclair, Ivanova, and Garibaldi. And for those which a person, according to, I guess, Freud, is Freudian psychology, is made up of 3 parts. There's the ego, the id, and the super ego. And so, like, Kirk, Spock, McCoy each represented one of those 3.
Yeah.
Ron, Harry, Hermione each represented one of those 3. And we see this throughout a lot of fiction. Was this the case here? Does each one represent an id, a super ego, and an ego? So interesting to discuss.
I actually have some insight in that when we get to the next segment.
Cool. Well, then let's talk about that there. I like that. Sounds like there may have been some insightful observations there.
Sort of.
I hope.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Sort of. Well, okay, maybe not. And this is where you embarked on a personal mission, Jeff.
Okay.
You embarked on a personal mission to prove that my theory that Sinclair was part Minbari was true.
Yeah.
One, because you said that the guy who was the battery before Drawl,
Vern,
yeah, he actually looked or he appeared
Barn.
to Sinclair. He
That's
appeared
right.
to Sinclair, and so that was a piece of evidence to you, but also that Sinclair could have been the one to go in the machine.
Oh,
Because there was that whole thing. And so you really sat out on this thing to prove that my theory was absolutely correct.
okay.
From I guess was that last episode or a couple episodes ago.
Well, yeah, the last episode, yeah.
So
Look at that.
yeah.
Mission accomplished, by the way.
There you go. Now, Jeff, I listened to the episode. You had 2 episodes worth of research to do on your own regarding what JMS says about this episode. What'd you find out? Anything fun?
In the first part, there are a ton. Like the JMS Speaks section is miles long.
Yeah.
But in a moment that might be shocking to a lot of people, I think that the fandom that he was interacting with at the time got, I don't know, a little pedantic around things, because like 90% of the comments are basically him being like, yeah, this is good TV and you show and don't tell. Like trying to explain, yeah, I didn't say that because we showed this. So it was a lot of that. But he does say that Christopher Frankie gives one of his best scores in the season in this episode. This was a thing I didn't know. We were aware or had heard that 2 episodes from now, The Quality of Mercy, he had written that in a feverish haze and has no memory of ever having written it.
Yep. I've heard him say that. Yeah.
Apparently he was also sick, or like on the beginnings or whatever of that illness when he wrote this, and he wrote an entirely different 2-parter. Stem to stern, wrote the whole thing.
Yeah.
And as soon as he was done, he's like, oh, this isn't good. And then he gave it to, Douglas and everybody else to look at, and they were like, yeah, this isn't good. So he put his head down, wrote an entirely different 2-parter.
Wow.
And what we see on screen is basically an acting of the first draft of that script.
Because he didn't have time necessarily to refine it and do a bunch of stuff. Wow.
Exactly.
Okay. Interesting.
From go, this was intended to be a 2-parter, not necessarily because of the scope and breadth of the story, but because 2-parters sell really well on the international market.
Oh.
And apparently this did. Japan, Germany, they're all
one
about
of the things we know from 90s sci-fi is it was a rule. Every season had to have at least one 2-parter.
Yep.
Now, to me, that always meant Sweeps Week. We're always going to do that during Sweeps Week. It's meant to boost your numbers and stuff, right? But that is just as good of a reason as any that I can think of.
Makes total sense. So the context around, is it Sinclair, Garibaldi, and Ivanova? Garibaldi is the other side of the Londo coin.
Okay.
He says, it's an odd friendship, almost grudging. Londo has little to gain by cheering up Garibaldi, except a drink maybe, but he goes out of his way to do it because they're friends. So he really wrote Garibaldi and Londo to be kind of the opposing forces and didn't put him in a system with Sinclair or Ivanova. And then for part 2, there's a ship that comes through called the Hyperion. And
we had a big discussion, Jeff, at the end of episode 1.
Yeah.
As far as what was, remember, this one ends like a jump point's opening, and then it opens and it show ends. Like that's the cliffhanger. It's like, who's coming through? And we had a lot of stuff. And when we saw it come through, we're like, oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, that kind of continues. Every note that he had was about the Hyperion. And it's basically,
I like it now that I know what it is. I like, it's a good way to, it makes sense in the story, but like in our brains, it was way higher than
it's like, oh my God, is it going to be? No, but the Hyperion was a relic from the Earth Minbari War. And he was really clear that we will never see this design of ship again.
For any practical reason, or just pure story of this is a relic from the old war?
Just the story. This is an old ship. It happened to be close, hanging out in hyperspace.
That's a weird thing to declare at such a point for any other reason other than it costs too much money to make in CG, so we're going to have to make something better. And here's the reason why we're never going to see it. Like, it feels like there's got to be a real world reason for that other than a story based. This is old.
My guess is it didn't look very good. They're like,
a real world reason that is perfectly acceptable. Perfectly acceptable.
But that's pretty much what JMS had to say on this 2-parter. So
well, you really boiled that down, didn't you?
I opened it up. I'm like, oh my God, this is good. And then it's like, nope, just correcting something. Nope, telling him how TV works. Nope, arguing with this person over. Oh, here's a nugget. Here's a thing.
Yeah, boy, if you argue with JMS, he will come back at you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, does not let people have their own opinions of stuff. He will come back at you.
Well, it's not. This isn't a show to have opinions about. He told the story. it's
Yeah.
fact. Like, this is it. So
JMS, I love you, dude. I really do. I have so much respect for you, dude. You're an amazing person.
for joining us for the first time, welcome. We're super excited that you're here. Every episode is someone's first, and you picked a especially long one for your first time, so you get to really see the whole marathon in this episode. Because what we're going to do is literally watch the episode. It's going to pop up here in a second. If you're watching us on YouTube, you're going to see the reaction video, right? Like the kind of cut up and copyright protected thing or whatever. So we honor the copyright and give JMS the due that he is due in the whole thing. If you want to see, though, the full unedited version of this episode, you can get that at patreon.com/Babylon5First. It's the number 5 and the word first. There is a link in the show notes that will take you to that.
And hey, listen, if you're listening to us on a podcasting app, you're going to hear that reaction. And then we're going to catch up with you guys on the other side where we're going to share a couple more thoughts. We'll talk about any new messages we might have uncovered throughout the course of the show. So, Jeff, let's go watch an episode, man.
Let's do it. Here's the bad guy coming on the station first.
Always. He even has the accent, doesn't he?
I think he does.
I'm a bad guy.
Excuse me, perhaps you might help me. I'm looking for Ambassador Delenn. Could you tell me where I might find her?
Of course. This way.
He has a kind voice and a kind face, but just like the way he comes on, totally bad guy.
Change in those seismic disturbances.
Range to surface, 40 miles.
Using miles in space, that's not something you see very often.
Set for maximum depth.
You know, these are people that I remember for some reason.
Really?
All this, like, in my head, we knew them from much later in the show.
I have no controls here.
Yeah, they don't make it to much later into the show because it was the dawn of the third age.
Mankind. 10 years after the Earth-Minbari War.
Shuttle 1, do you receive?
Shuttle one, isn't this a lot of fun?
How was that? All of our readouts blacked out for a second.
Same here, Babylon Control. It was some kind of massive power surge, right off the scale.
Confirmed. We'll send 2 Star Furies ASAP. Stand by. Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. If we could. Okay, we've got a while to wait. Who's got a deck of cards?
That wasn't forced or anything. Nice theme with the Star Furies coming out.
Hey, that Star Fury was upside down.
We were told the planet we're orbiting is stable, safe, and uninhabited. Now it appears to be none of those things.
Incorrect. We still don't know for sure if anyone's actually alive down there.
Doesn't worry you in the slightest?
On the contrary, it scares the hell out of me.
You know, he kind of looks like he just came
Better
back
way
from
to go out there
exploring
and
the ice
cause
planet
advancing
Hoth.
Scientific knowledge.
He does. Yeah.
You know?
That's a very
this a multiple choice
rebel
question?
coat.
I have some ideas.
And we will agree
I love her.
these are trade routes.
Dang.
Ambassador Gikar is angry much of the time, but even the greatest anger fades with time.
My dear Ambassador Delenn, I am sure that for you this is true. But for Gikar and his people, they will do all that they can to destroy us until the universe itself decays and collapses.
You know,
If
those
the
two things are
Narns
not
all
mutually
stood together
exclusive.
in one place and hated all at the same time, that hatred could fly across dozens of light years and reduce Centauri Prime to a ball of ash.
I want to talk about that
Yeah, do it.
in regards to
Because I was
Jakar.
just thinking something. Go ahead.
Yeah, in Jakar's arc, right? So she says, you know, it's the anger, but the anger fades. And then Londo says, if you put them all together and put their anger and their hate, it would blow up the planet. We see that play out where his anger does fade and he grows and he sees things differently and he becomes a religious figure. But the rest of the Narn, for a long time, just so much hatred. You know, we think about them in in Cartagia's throne room, and they're just like, let's kill everybody. Let's name a new let's like Jakar our guy and whatever. But it just really makes me think like that they just laid out the story for Jakar and the Narn of letting that anger fade.
There's a great line that Jakar says at some point where he says, "My people can never forgive your people, but I can forgive you." You know, and I think there's a great deal to discuss of the difference between an individual's anger and a societal anger, a mob think, a group think anger, and it shows just how actually destructive groupthink can be.
Yeah.
You know, I think every time we've encouraged groupthink, and usually we talk about that within the confines of a fandom, it's always destructive. It's never constructive.
Right.
like ever.
It's never, let's go pick up all that garbage.
But even though I think what it also shows, talking about hope that things can be better in the future, that actually you can get over your anger. And not even get over. Anger can fade, and that can be replaced, I'm going to bring out the word, with forgiveness. And with forgiveness comes freedom. Jakar and his people are trapped in a cage as long as they hold on to their anger, which they rightly hold.
Yeah.
They are very right to be angry.
It's righteous
I'm
anger.
I'm not negating that. But as long as they hold on to it, they are trapped in a cage. And all of that literally leads to his planet. I don't know what happens to Centauri Prime in the future, he says, reduced to a ball of ash.
Not that far, but it gets rocked.
But we see it burning. And doesn't it burn for years?
Decades. Yeah.
Decades. Yeah. Something.
Yeah.
You don't have to respond in kind.
Oh, that's good too.
There's a natural law. Physics tells us that for every action, there must be an equal and opposite reaction. They hate us, we hate them, they hate us back.
But here's the thing.
You started it.
That's not opposite. Equal and opposite. Opposite would be you hate me, I don't hate you. That's opposite. So when you choose to meet hate with hate or anger with anger, you're defying physics. And that's not a good thing.
I like where you're going with that. You're completely wrong, but I really like where you're going with that. I like the metaphor. I like what you're saying.
Tell me more though. Like, how's that wrong?
Well, the opposite does not mean opposite means opposite in direction.
For physics, right?
It's equal in magnitude, opposite in direction. Not because if I hate this way, I have to hate that way to go in opposite directions. If I turn around, you see what I'm saying? But I like what you're saying. No. I love what you're saying because it holds a lot of water.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not talking motion. I'm talking emotion.
Love it. Yeah. Keep saying it, buddy.
Yeah,
Go.
there you go.
Do it.
Here we are.
We're not talking motion. These are the laws of emotion.
Ambassador.
Take us to church, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Gemstone laying it down.
He will, sooner or later.
Oh, he will. Much later, but he will.
Because the alternative is too terrible to consider. Without the hope that things will get better, that our inheritors will know a world that is fuller and richer than our own, life is pointless. Good day, Commander.
That's an interesting line. Okay, we can talk about this one. We're going to talk about that whole thing about without the hope that things are going to get better, that our inheritors will know a world that is better and richer than their own, life is pointless. That's an interesting conversation. We're going to have that at the end, Jeff.
Yeah.
Let's have this one right now. And evolution is vastly overrated.
Yeah.
What is that?
I have to think that. So, what is the purpose of evolution?
I'm not the right guy to ask this question to. So, go ahead.
Well,
I'll let you. I'll let you say.
I also am not the right person, but
right.
But I would say high level. It's to adapt to a changing environment. That sound fair?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's much more specific. I am not a scientist, but if we're not going to have a better place, what's the point of evolving? If we're just going to live in a place that's this or worse. The whole idea of evolution is a sham, really. Does that make sense at all? Like, I think we think of evolution and look at evolution in terms of humanity. We see it play out in Star Trek. We see it play out here in Babylon 5. We evolve to an energy, a level, a being of energy, a higher plane because it's better, right? But if it's not better, why would you want to evolve and be different? It already sucks. It's going to keep sucking.
I'm trying to consider this in the context of what we're saying here. Evolution is vastly overrated, right? Life is pointless and evolution is vastly overrated. Like, yeah. I mean, I guess there's the idea evolution is meant for us to get better, right?
Theory.
Survival of the fittest, you mutate for survival, and those fit mutations are the ones that come together and promote the species to move on, right? And if you can't have hope that that's going to happen later in the future, then why? Basically, I guess that's maybe it. Because what is? Ooh, here you go, Jeff. I got it. You ready?
Okay.
Go back to your question. What is evolving? What is it? It means you're growing. You're getting better. You're not staying the same.
You're changing. You're
changing into something that is better and richer than what you were before. More complex. You're going from a single-celled organism to a super duper complex organism. You can say that about society. You can say that about the evolution of anything,
Yeah.
right? And that the idea that that is what happens, like that is vastly overrated. If we cannot have hope, basically what she says, is hope.
Yeah.
Without the hope, things will be better in the future. Our inheritors will know a world that is richer and better than our own.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Doesn't that also just call you to be a better person and to have a lasting impact, positive impact on your world? Like, my gosh.
Well, you think about it. As a world, we're experiencing what they call a population crisis. There are entire societies and cultures that have essentially stopped reproducing. I mean, they're still reproducing, but at a rate it's almost insignificant. And what you hear, or I hear at least frequently, is I can't bring a kid into this world. You know, like it's we're overpopulated. Resources are apparently scarce unless you're one of 4 people or whatever. And so people are choosing to not procreate because we evolve generationally, right? You know, like I don't evolve a 6th finger overnight. My kids and their kids and whatever evolve that new thing. And so I don't have hope it's going to be better. So why bother?
Yeah. I like what Ben and Becky both say in our chat over here, and says, what's the point of evolving if we don't at least try to get better?
At least try.
If we're not at least trying. And Becky says, yeah, what's the point of surviving and passing on your genes if everything just gets worse? If I could add to what Becky said, or just stays the same.
Yeah, which I think is worse. Spock talks about this in the original series, that when you do not change, you die. You cease to exist in any meaningful way if you're not changing.
Yeah, yeah. This is not a conversation about parenting and whether or not people should have kids and make choices, whatever personal choices that they make. So I'll put a pin in this because I've got a lot of thoughts based on stuff you just said.
Okay.
Let's get back to our episode,
right.
though. Let's have that conversation sometime, though.
The signal seems to have diminished a little.
I can't believe we didn't dive into that the first time.
Didn't.
Well, once our instruments
Didn't
came back
touch it.
online,
I
we
was
were able to
silver
run a few
plattered.
tests.
What is the third principle of sentient life?
Look how excited she is.
The third principle of sentient
He is the
life
third principle.
What is the third principle of sentient life?
Draw.
Incorrect.
I love the look on her face. She's just so excited to see him.
So, and it's so genuine too, right? Like this is the kind of actor that Mira Furlan was, and what we got in the end was just. But yeah.
Incorrect answer. The third principle of sentient life is the capacity for self-sacrifice, the conscious ability to override evolution and self-preservation for a cause, a friend, a loved one.
Override evolution, which we were just told could be vastly overrated.
Right. Is the capacity for self-sacrifice. What did he say right before that? He said something. The
conscious ability to override evolution and self-preservation for a cause, a friend, a loved one.
That's. I mean, juxtapose those two conversations. And evolution will be vastly overrated.
So Becky in the chat says a great thing. Sacrificing oneself for the good of society isn't against evolution. It helps the population survive. But what we're saying, I think, Brent, and tell me if I'm wrong, but if the third principle is the conscious ability to override evolution, self-sacrifice yourself for a thing, and there's no hope, then your sacrifice in exchange for evolution is overrated. Like that conscious choice you did is an overrated choice because you have no hope. It's not a wrong or overrated decision. It's the absence of hope that drives all of this.
Yeah, because if you're not going to have hope that things are going to be better in the future. Okay, hello, Star Trek-like messages right here. You ready? Yeah. If you're not going to have hope that things are going to be better in the future, then why try?
Why try?
Why try? Why do that thing where, you know what? I'm going to sacrifice myself because this is going to make things better. Right? What's the point if we're not going to be getting better?
Yeah.
Or staying the same? I would add to that, not just getting better, but also staying the same or getting worse. Like, why even do this if this is how we're going to go, if you have no hope? And I think this is one of the messages that we see time and time again. What is it that got the Bajorans through the Cardassian occupation?
Hope.
What is it that got the rebellion through the time of Emperor Palpatine?
The Force, but also hope.
Right? But that's what I mean. Like, as long as you have hope, have some, what, and Jeff, what movie is it? It was not Babylon 5, I don't think. But it's where they were talking about as long as they have hope, they're a threat. as long as they have hope, they're dangerous. We have to crush their hope.
I know I've heard that. I don't think there's any one. That's a thing.
But it's hope. Hope is you've got to figure it's a unique unique trait of humanity.
We talk about the power of love, right? That's pop culture. That's the zeitgeist, the power of love. But maybe the power of hope is so infinitely stronger. One of the goals of propaganda is to squash hope. Make sure people know there's no hope. There's no chance of escape or chance of change or whatever.
Yeah.
Kill that hope. You kill the populace.
Yeah. And I think we have seen that played out so many times in our own lifetime. An outside observer just looking at it and going, you've lost hope. You've lost hope. Or do we really all still have hope? And I would sit here and maintain, hey, hold out hope. There's always hope. If you ain't dead, there's hope. There's always hope. It is a commodity that never runs out.
And even if you are dead, maybe you're dead because you had hope. I have hope that it'll be better, and that's why I will exercise the third principle of sentience and sacrifice myself. But
then your inheritors have that hope because of what you've
passing it along.
There you go. I like it. This is why we love Drawl, and this is why it's such a gosh dang shame we didn't get more of him throughout the course of the show.
Instead of in your warm quarters.
Also, he carries us through his brother Theo when he comes back, which is great.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Or we didn't get more brother Theo.
Yeah,
I
wanted so much
take
more.
away Drawl and have brother Theo.
100%. Yeah,
I'd be absolutely fine. To me, it's the same person. Really.
The sand will run red with earther blood.
Earther blood.
I wonder what role number 1 is playing in this.
Right.
So I feel like I brought this up the first time.
Great pause.
That was good.
Great pause.
But I feel like I brought this up the first time we watched it. But understanding what Michael O'Hare was experiencing.
Oh, my word.
I feel like this whole thing is pretty effed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our world is changing, Delet. I'm not sure when it began to change.
Those dang
Perhaps
kids.
The war, perhaps the death of Dukat.
Their rock and roll
Perhaps
music.
the darkness was there all along, and we refused to see it.
If you're referring to the growing division between the religious and military castes.
That, and more than that, there is a sense that we are lost and drifting.
Yeah.
Streets and the temples, you can hear it in their voices, their manner.
You know what's so great about this? What I really love about this, and this is where our future knowledge, like you and I will see over the course of the show, how there's this idea of what the Minbari should be. You and I instinctively know what the Minbari are.
Right? Yeah.
Like we just do. Like we saw Delenn, we saw how this goes, and I know her. Not because she's the Vulcan counterpart on this show. That's not it. We know what she's supposed to represent. We know the wisdom and the age and the enlightenment that these folks are supposed to represent. But we also know that as we explore their society and we get to know Minbar a lot better, we find out that that is not the case at all. Like they're actually pretty scummy.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. But here's Drawl saying, this is what's happening. Like, yeah, we are supposed to be this, but we're not anymore. We've been this. We've had this idea of who we are. And this is actually what's going on right now. Man, I feel like I can relate.
Well,
like,
a lot of it.
Yeah.
When there's a relationship, whether it's a societal relationship, family, whatever, and there's not great stuff going on in it, when times are good, that's fine. You can gloss over those things that aren't great or whatever. But as the pressure starts to come on, those flaws, those gaps really amplify and get big. And pretty soon that's all you can see. And ever since the death of Dukat, and really for a while before that, because the Minbari were starting to just, I mean, we saw it in the beginning when they were, joking on the Rangers and stuff. But the death of Dukat really just like put that pressure cooker on society, and all their racism and narcissism and just awfulness is oozing out. And here's Drawl, an emotional, loving man watching this happen. And he's yearning for what we might call the good old days, right? But the reality is all that stink and awful was there the whole time. Now it's the surface.
Well, but that's the thing. Okay. There's a difference when, okay, yeah, all this stink and all this ugliness is here, but we've been able to deal with it. We I don't want to just say push it down, but we've been able to handle it. now it's grown to such this case where it is right at the top and it's becoming uncontrollable. You and I have both talked about how we have thoughts, we have feelings, we have things that are innate within inside of us that are gross, disgusting, and awful. And because we're intelligent, smart, and somewhat enlightened adults, like, we push that stuff down and go, no, we capture those thoughts is what we do. And we go, no, that's false. That's not good. And pfft, that's bad. We're not going to do that. Right. Like, we can do that as grown adults.
Well, hopefully.
Hopefully.
We can do that as emotionally intelligent people.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So just the fact that it exists, I don't think is necessarily the bad thing. The fact that it has risen to this level and that it is spilling out and becoming the dominant trait. That's the bad thing.
And that's what I think. I don't even think that it's bigger or anything. It's a proportion thing. When times are good, here's the stink, here's the good. We can cover the good or the bad, the stink, the whatever. Gloss over it, have our little lies that we tell ourselves, either individually or whatever, that makes it all okay. But when that just ramps up, it's not that there's more of the stink, it's that it's more apparent, because now I can't, those tools that I have, the lies, I can't tell myself anymore. I'm too tired, I'm too beaten up, it's too much, it's whatever. And I think, and there's some conversation in the chat, like Drawl's talking about 2025, Jeff's talking, no, I'm talking about basically like the last 6,000 to 9,000 years. Of human society. I mean, let's look to our brothers and sisters in the Middle East, you know, and I mean, they're going through hell right now, but also they always have. Like, at no point were they not going through it. And so, yeah, I think this leads though to a point that Drawl's talking about, where he's just like, I wish it could be like it was. But I'm just countering that it was always like this, Drawl.
Right.
Just now you can see it. And here's the good thing with it. When you can see it, you can do something about it. But when your lies work and society accepts the lies and everything, why bother doing anything about it? It's fine.
Right.
We have a little racism. It's all right. It's not a lot of racism, you know? It turns out it is a lot.
Right.
Surface a growing dissatisfaction, a self-involvement above the needs of others. It is not the same world in which I was born, Delenn.
And where does that come from? He just told us where that comes from, or that anger, and how it comes from a self-involvement that puts your needs above that of others. That's where it comes from.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from. When you start worrying about yourself and being worried about everything having to do with you, and you're not worried about society and about the world and looking beyond yourself. And this is something you and I have said, listen, no matter where you are, what side of the aisle, what religion, whatever, be about something bigger than yourself. Because it's not about you. You know, if everything is focused on you and what you need to do and where you are, you're missing it. We've got to be a society that's about others.
You have to take care of you so you can be about others, right? It's not about self-sacrifice all the time. There's a Catholic mystic that I brought up on here a couple of times before, Father Richard Rohr, but he has this concept called the cosmic egg. And I was actually talking about this the other day. I kept calling it the great egg because I'm still someday that's going to pay off. But he uses the metaphor of the cosmic egg, where the yolk is the me, the whites, the albumin is you, and the shell is everyone. And you need all three of those to work in concert to have a healthy egg. You have to be good. You and me have to be good. All of us have to be good.
Okay.
But what Drawl is saying is, we're just worried about the yolk right now. That's it. And that's a problem.
Interesting.
I am going to the sea.
I don't want you to go to the sea.
No. You're still too young to go to the sea. There is so much you could do back home.
I don't know what good it would do.
And if you have a problem with anything we said, the show said it, not us.
Right.
Stars,
We're just amplifying it.
Yeah.
Of service.
Amplifying. We're just saying it on the side.
I hear the call of the stars, Delenn, and I must answer.
Get your readings, make a low-altitude scan of the surface, and get out in one piece. We'll be monitoring your progress from CNC.
Good. I work best with an audience. Anything else?
Just one thing. Star Furies are designed for combat in space, not inside an atmosphere. Don't drop too low, or you're on your own.
So one of the comments in the Lurker's Guide from JMS was somebody apparently was being like, you never told us why the Star Furies couldn't fly in the atmosphere. And he's like, I did. Ivanova said they can't. There you go.
It's good enough reason. Good enough
Understood.
Launch fighter escort.
There goes the theme again. I love it.
Yeah. It's so good.
This is Delta Later. Let's be awake out there. Roger that, Delta Leader. I'm on his tail.
Delta Leader, that's what Keffer ends up commanding.
Is he?
I think. He becomes the Delta Wing.
Gentlemen. There's something down there, coming our way fast.
Yeah, it's a missile.
Yeah. Dude, that's a really good rendering of the planet's surface. I said across her nose, not up it.
That wasn't the nose. Dude, they're really getting some mileage out of that scene.
Can you reach the shuttle?
So you almost wonder, is it the same shot?
All
They just
fighters,
rotate it?
target guns
Yeah,
and lower
several
atmosphere. Wide-angle firing pattern.
Survey 1 to Babylon Control. We're clear. Returning to base.
Confirmed, Survey 1. Upon arrival, you will report for debriefing. And just one more thing. On your trip back, I'd like you to take the time to learn the Babylon 5 mantra. Ivanova is God. And, if this ever happens again, Ivanova will personally rip your lungs out. Babylon Control out.
The best part's right here.
Oh, God.
Right, no. Right here.
Civilians. Just kidding about that God part. No offense.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
Although her looking over the shoulder, those people like,
Yeah, that was
right.
All our previous scans failed to show any life forms or any automatic systems on the surface of the planet or for a depth of 2 miles inside Epsilon 3.
It's also a potential first contact situation. I'd say we pretty much have to go down there and check it out. Wouldn't you agree, Lieutenant Commander?
Absolutely.
He's like finding the reason where he's like, I want to go check this stuff out. How do I get to
You
go?
get it? Get you yet? Mr. Garibaldi, off
My
duty,
dear
I
good
see.
friend.
Mr. Garibaldi,
Are you going to kiss him?
whatever it is, it can't be that bad.
He should kiss him on the
Lean
forehead.
in. Lean in.
Try and kiss me and I'll break your arm.
We're not that close, Mr. Garibaldi.
At least they addressed it. At least they addressed it.
Didn't leave it hanging.
You know, it's actually a good word.
The next
Whatever it
day,
is, it can't be
woke
that
up, I
bad.
saw her in the light of day, sleeping against my arm. You looked as if you needed a friend.
I did. Thanks.
You're welcome. Now, I go to spread happiness through the rest of the station. It's a terrible responsibility, but I have learned to live with it.
I like that attitude right there.
Right?
I'm going to go spread happiness to everybody out there I can. It's a
Yeah.
terrible responsibility, but I've learned to live with it.
Somebody better pay for that drink.
He got away with the drink.
Londo's like, not it.
We've got something. It's an opening, all right. Definitely artificial.
Bring us in.
Must be a Gould station. There's all those crystals running everything.
Gravity 0.75.
Oh,
normal.
Jeffrey.
Atmosphere 90%
You make me
carbon
happy
dioxide,
sometimes, my
10% trace elements.
So now he's Indiana Jones.
As I say, yep.
Well, that'll cut down on tourism.
Well, if we throw enough rocks in there, the battery will run out eventually.
Commander, you better take a look at this.
Like, Commander, how are we going to get out of here?
Yeah. You've got an elevator There goes Zathras. That was our first shot of Zathras on that elevator.
Yeah.
And there goes Zathras 2. And there's Zathras 4. And there's 8.
Tell me
Way even 7.
Incredible. A whole new area of technology.
What's happening?
Picking up seismic activity. It's a big one.
Commander, get the hell out of there, you hear me? Clear out!
So at this point, is he just reaching out to anybody he can get in contact with?
It must be. And you'd think that
Like,
if he's there, he'd
'cause
like
he's hit
light it.
Sinclair, he's hit Londo, he's hit Ivanova.
Like maybe
Just
light a
somebody-
path. Don't just sit here and say, "Please help me." Show me where to help.
Right?
Come on, dude, can't
What
help you if
exactly-
you won't help yourself.
Right. What exactly would you like for me to do?
It's a pretty great looking scene. Great looking scene of the great machine.
This is why, like, they always put lights in these helmets, like for TV. Like,
Right.
and I get why for camera, but it just always looks so weird to me.
Looks like Mr. House.
You said that the first time. You talked about that to some extent the first time. It's
some
Mr.
consistent.
House from the video game or whatever it's called.
Fallout, New Vegas, one of the
Yeah,
greatest.
there you
video
go.
games.
Yeah, that was it. That's exactly what it was.
When we're about to do something stupid, we like to catalog the full extent of our stupidity. Future reference.
I remember this line. I loved it.
Thanks for getting me out. But now the whole thing's gonna fall apart because there's no power.
Jeff, yeah, we're getting you. What's your situation? I want that med team at Bay 14 in 10 minutes. I'll meet them there.
Corwin! So JMS said this is one of the best soundtracks of the season. It's been like 80% the theme.
Oh,
yeah.
The hell?
What's it gonna be? I have to wait a whole week for this.
Previously on
Oh, no, we don't.
No, we don't. All right, Jeff, as per our tradition, let's take a little breather. Let's reflect on this first episode before heading into the next one. Some thoughts that you maybe don't want to save till the very end, but just kind of coming out of this first episode.
We had a lot to talk about, but
We had a lot to talk about in the first episode. Why would we skip the first episode?
Well, I'll tell you why.
There's so much in the first episode.
So much to talk about, but you know what? It was boring.
If you're watching it from a pure entertainment standpoint, I can.
It just kind of kept going. They're recycling scenes over and over and over again just to like pad time.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
But it's doing the typical two-parter thing. The first episode is all set up. The second one is all execute. Like it happens. But the stuff that they drop in this, I mean, this is a JMS episode, right?
I don't know. I think so, but I don't know.
It feels like it's a JMS episode. Like it's just chock full of stuff, man. Of stuff.
Yeah, I think for the first time viewing thing. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, this is a JMS. He wrote it. He wrote this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a ton. And it's not a bad, like this isn't a bad episode. And just like for context sake, because in our first viewing, we ranked these separately. And I won't say where part 2 landed yet, but part 1 was number 18 on the season for us.
I don't doubt that. This show had a surprisingly strong first season.
Totally, it really did.
For a 90s sci-fi show. It really did. So I'm not surprised that this would find itself in the bottom of the middle of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I just have to point out my own genius here really quickly. Before we watched the episode, I talked about how JMS completely wrote a two-parter and then rewrote this one. And then I'm like, I don't know if JMS wrote this or not. Batting 1,000 right here. This is good.
Oh my word. Yeah. Oh my word.
What about you? What kind of other thoughts are you having?
I mean, I feel you 100% on it's a bit of a boring episode, but this is one of those episodes that makes you chew on it. If you really study it the way you and I study, if you allow yourself to study it the way you and I study episodes, right? This would be one of those episodes we talk about in Star Trek that maybe is not a really great episode, but is a really important episode and is very message heavy. And I feel like they've set a lot of stuff up of just, I mean, the message of hope from Garibaldi having to have hope that something's going to happen with Lise to Drawl and Delenn with the piece they're talking about. Sinclair is just Sinclair. He's just moving through the action pieces right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Ivanova's
peak,
making it awesome to watch.
This is peak
Ivanova. Absolutely. So yeah, from one standpoint, from another standpoint, there's a lot of good stuff to really chew. What I say 2-3 times, this could be its own podcast episode if we were doing that.
It could be a couple of its own podcast episodes out of this.
Really could. Really, if we're going to peel off this piece or peel off that piece, really could. Jeff, we've got a whole other episode to watch.
We do.
It's an Earth Alliance heavy cruiser. Babylon control to Earth cruiser. Nothing personal.
Mr. Worf, fire.
Any help.
Did it?
Affirmative, Babylon.
It won't fire, sir.
Oh, Ron Canada. I remember this dude.
Ellis Pierce, the Earth Alliance starship.
What are you talking about? That's
Hyperion.
Captain Ellis Pierce.
We are assuming control over this situation.
We have assumed
Please
control.
Stand by, Babylon control.
I don't think it's a bad looking ship. It's very small looking.
The third age of mankind.
A whole new and potentially revolutionary technology based on what you describe, the civilian and military potential.
Imagine doing your
take
job.
care of it ourselves.
You write a report,
now,
and all of a sudden people come in to just take over your
But
job
since this
because
is neutral territory, every race on this station is going to stake a claim to what you found down there.
Enjoy the accommodations, Captain. I'll do everything I can to make sure your stay here is a brief one.
It is a brief one. I like that.
I like that he dismisses the captain. He, a commander, dismisses the captain because he would outrank him here, right?
Exactly. Yeah, he's the commanding officer.
Alliance President Luke. Ever since the war, Earth Force Command has been obsessed with getting their hands on new technology.
Okay, I kind of like this senator this run.
When I assumed command of Babylon
I didn't like him the
5,
first
I was
time around. I kind of like him
personally
this
assured
run.
by President Santiago that I had final authority over this sector.
It's the best I can do for now. Commander, I will be in touch.
He does a good job showing that like he's a man of power, but doesn't have a lot of power.
Right. There's only so much he can actually do.
Because you can't get near the planet's surface without a properly encoded jamming device.
What? Why wasn't I informed?
You didn't ask.
Commander, I demand you turn over this jamming device at once.
It's being repaired, but I'll see what I can do. Babylon control out.
I'll give you the
We
raspberry.
didn't use the jamming device. We don't even
No
have
one
it.
gives me the
I
raspberry.
know, but he doesn't know that. With luck, it'll discourage him from sending any more ships down there until we finish working this out.
Commander, if that planet goes, it'll take us with it. The Hyperion can get out of the way. We can't.
He'll take you in a lot more with it.
Because there was still someone running the show.
Yeah, you brought back.
Exactly. As long as he remains unconscious, the system keeps running on automatic, heading towards self-destruct, without anyone to stop it.
All right.
I've just realized something.
Yeah.
I got to save it to talk about at the end, though.
Okay.
But let's just say this is that moment for me where my respect for this show, this episode has just gone from here to here.
All right. Okay.
Like, beautiful. I'm in love. Oh, stay tuned to the end to find out what Brent's going on about. Here we go.
So if we go down there, it blows. If we don't, it blows anyway, just a little later. It's a good thing I'm Russian. We're used to hopeless situations.
Good. Gotta get
More
her
hope.
Russian. Yeah. Oh, right.
More hope.
Yeah.
Right?
Lieutenant Commander.
Michael, I need you sharp. You can't go off like that.
Damn it, Jeff, what the hell am I supposed to do? I've
Be
never
a
felt
professional?
this helpless before. The one woman in my whole life who meant anything to me, and she's back on Mars.
And I'm pretty sure him slamming that
She's dead.
dude's face in
Either
the
way, I
bar
can't
totally
think.
changed his
The
opinion
planet
on
we're parked
Mars.
next to is about to look like a Roman candle. What am I supposed to do, huh? Arrest it?
Mm-hmm.
If we have to evacuate, you know we'll never get everyone off the station.
Talking this not
Ambassadors, women and children, civilians go first. Some of the command staff will have to stay on board until... I'd appreciate it if you could make sure Ivanova gets on the last ship out. She'll want to stay, but she's got her whole career ahead of her.
I love that he's looking out for her here.
Mm-hmm.
She'll be on it if I have to drug her and toss her in before the doors close.
I mean, some of that's like she's the young one.
Right.
Don't let her be stupid. You know.
This is totally where that triumvirate thoughts, those thoughts came from, with stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Look, this is a
I like that they're still
restricted
flooding
area.
it with
You're not
gas.
allowed in here.
Like, it's a cool
he's
look.
the
but-
one. I heard him call my name.
I like that Delenn just ignores Franklin and does it anyway. Like, Drawl's
Stay right
one
there,
thing.
okay? Stay still.
Delenn just like, whatever. I've got diplomatic immunity.
You, planet below, do not let her destroy you.
All right, Yoda. Man, that tongue is weird to see, like, coming through that prosthetic mask.
There is.
This might be one of the times where I'm like, they could have done better on that makeup.
I got
like
your message.
usually
What's
Babylon
up?
5's makeup is
Dr. Frank is
stellar.
reporting the patient
That one,
awake and
not so
confirming
much.
our information.
It was really
If any
stiff.
ships land on the planet, it will self-destruct.
Commander, it's not your decision.
He had stank
Where
on
we
that
going?
commander.
What are you going to do? Shoot us down?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Required to protect this station? Yes. Lieutenant Commander, put Delta and Zeta flights on alert. Stand by for immediate launch.
You can kiss your career goodbye.
And if you go down there, we're dead anyway.
Yeah, you go down there, we'll be kissing more than my career goodbye.
Mm-hmm. You kissing my
Lieutenant
ass
Commander,
goodbye.
open fighter bay doors.
I do love
Bay door's
how
eye.
Pierce is just sitting there, like, just waiting to look judgy on the
Stand by to
screen.
launch.
Just
Michael O'Hare can stare a brother down, can he?
Status.
They're canceling
I mean-
the launch.
just like,
The fighters
I love
stand
Bruce
down.
Boxleitner.
Keep them ready in case
I
we
love
need
Bruce
to after all.
Boxleitner.
We've got a ship coming through the
Michael
jungle.
O'Hare can stare a dude down. Yeah,
Stand
Ben's right.
by.
It does feel a little more Sheridan than it does Sinclair, but
cool looking ship.
Accessing our language and translation files.
Give you 10 of your hours to move aside.
no cycles.
We do not wish to kill.
It's impressive
but
they can
we
convert
will
their time
if you will not
already.
Let us take what is ours.
Signal was not meant for them, was put here to hide from them. Given to me when the rest of my people died. Sacred trust, legacy, future.
Okay, are we to understand that dude's people built the Great Machine?
I don't think so. Like, it
I was
sounds
going to
like
say,
it.
I thought the Great Machine was a lot older
Yeah.
than
Because,
just 500 years.
and I think like what Outcast guy was saying was, we've been looking for that. Not we built it and we're coming back for it, but we've been looking for it because like our dude is there.
Huh.
I think the builders of the Great Machine is a mystery.
Protector.
What's your prognosis?
He's dying. My guess is he's been dying for a while. That would explain the seismic disturbances. The more that he suffered, the more the system began to malfunction. But without him, the planet is dying.
Because he and the machine are connected, right? Like,
he powers it. Really.
I'm told that you two were there when Varn regained consciousness.
Commander, maybe you weren't paying attention. They've given us an ultimatum. Surrender or be destroyed. Together, we have the firepower. We can take them. Will you commit your forces to the battle?
I don't see any other choice. We'll be ready when you are.
Yes.
It's like, I hate you too, but we'll do it.
As well.
Right.
I don't think you fully understand what Dral is asking of you.
Of course I do.
He's like, who doesn't know the
One of
third
us
principle of
will
sentient
not
life?
return.
Right.
Yes.
That much is certain.
As a young and foolish Centauri, I swore that I would die on my feet, doing something noble and brave and futile.
He's gonna do that.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
That's amazing. Oh my God.
He's on his feet when he dies, right? He's on his feet. Jakar wraps his hands around his thing. He's doing something brave and noble.
And totally futile.
Totally futile. It is the third law of sentience, of self-sacrifice.
Mhm.
Somebody mentioned earlier, we talked about it, applying those three laws to Londo.
Yeah, to Londo, Sinclair, and Drawl, but Londo specifically.
Wow.
Yeah, Ron brought that up. That's why he willingly took the Keeper. That's why he waited patiently for Jakar.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, so good.
Text at Silent Shock asks, what do we mean by futile? Not him dying futile, but him accepting the
It's like they
Keeper.
created a diversion in Blue 7. By the time my guards got
Well,
back,
I mean,
he was
it
gone.
was good, but it was also...
It's too late. 3 transports have already left, and one's about to get to the gate, and... Wait a minute. Where the hell
Babylon
did it go?
5 is the story of Londo Mollari.
100%.
You have ignored our warning.
He's the one who tells the story from the beginning of the gathering.
I feel like this is the same actor that was the Narn who flew the ship in and bounced it all around and blew a bunch of stuff up.
Stop your people.
He's right. The transport's heading down to the planet.
They've opened fire. Secondary gunner ray is targeting my ship.
I like their
I'm
ship.
launching fighters. Babylon 5, we need your support.
Launch fighters.
I wonder if we're going to see it again.
Launch fighters.
It's so good. I love the launch sequence. After all this time, I love the launch.
Whoever's piloting that shuttle's a madman.
Just like Valis 12.
Here we get a peek into Londo and an ability that we never see again.
Yeah, right.
Like, he's a pilot.
The defense system isn't firing. He's letting them in.
Look, I've got to do something, Jeff. Getting descent.
Yeah, they have Varn on the
Try
ship.
and catch them at maximum thrust. See if you can buy me some cover.
Engaging.
What the hell are you two doing down here?
All my life, I have searched for a way to serve others. To me, there is no higher calling, no greater destiny than to live for another, and if necessary, to die for another. To somehow make the world a better place.
We're all right back
I
where
have
we
done
started.
all I could on my
I mean, that's good writing. Like,
yeah, right.
You set this up to
Came
get to this.
looking for a reason, a way to live out my remaining years with direction and purpose. Here I have found it. I will save lives. The wonders of this place. will
Listen,
take
I
me
love me
centuries
some
to
John
explore.
Schuck, but gosh,
Let
we
my
missed
life
something
have
with this
the
guy
meaning.
not being draw forward.
Oh, I agree.
Help me to do.
But I think he does a good job staying in the spirit. Like, I can see him in my memory being a younger version of what we're seeing here.
He was pretty.
Yeah. But I can see old school drawl being that.
Yeah, if all of a sudden he got young again.
One shot like that and they'll blow out the whole forward section.
Where's the
Exciting, isn't
On the
it?
other side, enemy ships keeping us between them.
I am sending this message to all 3 parties involved in the struggle for control of this planet. It belongs
Stop.
to none of you. It belongs only to itself and to the future.
And the
Commander
past,
Sinclair.
actually.
Stop. We're talking about how this thing was made, right? Somebody in a chat, I forget who it was, I want to say maybe Ben or somebody, said that their headcanon is Zathras built it after they went back in time.
Mm-hmm, I've heard that.
Right? But we've also, it was 500 years. War Without End does say the machine's only 500 years old, and it really ought to be way older than that because it's supposed to be recording stuff that happens and stuff, right? What if, Jeff? What if it actually comes from the future?
Oh.
It belongs to the future. It itself is a thing from the future. Just saying.
Secrets buried here must remain secrets. They would give any race an advantage over all others.
I feel like that's what the road home should have been about.
None should gain exclusive
The Great Machine.
That would have been really cool.
We entrust the safekeeping of this
But you do the
place
time hoppy thing to
the
go visit
Babylon
everybody.
5
Yeah, you do the same thing, but just have it
We will rely
center
upon
around
your
that.
guidance, Commander. Understand this.
I will blow you up.
The defensive systems
Real good.
on this world are now fully operational. Do not attempt to come here again.
Somebody better get Pierce on the link.
Commander, the enemy ship is moving again. It's headed toward the planet.
What, didn't they get the message?
They got it, but I don't think they believed it.
It's a little thing we like to call F around and find out.
Right.
The very Reaper-like shot.
Mm-hmm.
We should know very soon if the machine has truly accepted him.
Oh, so we're not done.
Not.
Like, this could go south.
Goodbye, dear friend.
In the moment, Drawl is the most sentient of all.
Perhaps
At the
someday
end, Londo is the most
I
sentient
may
of all.
see you again.
It'd be cool if he had a little smile. Just curl a little smile there.
President Santiago confirms that you have primary jurisdiction over the Babylon station and this sector of space. My regrets if I exceeded my authority.
Apology accepted. Have a safe trip.
Will do. Hyperion out.
You know what I love about that?
What's that?
Under duress, they worked together. They collaborated. And now, still a little tongue-in-cheek, still a little bit, a little miffed there.
Mm-hmm.
Some respect.
Sure.
Like it's just, just find that commonality so you can work together.
Say what?
Find that commonality so you can work together.
What?
Look, Lise, these relays get kind of weird, so we don't have a lot of time. I just wanted to say that...
Michael.
Let me finish.
Yeah, you don't want to finish, Michael.
No. One of the things I remember this the first time I talked about this, and it sticks out to me just anytime someone says, anytime somebody tries to interrupt you like that, you need to let them interrupt you. And when you say, no, let me finish, the other person is like, no, really, because I know where you're going to go with this. Stop. You need to know.
I thought maybe we could work things out if...
Michael.
Probably no.
I can't.
Oh, if it's the job.
I'm married. His name is Franz.
I'm glad for you.
It's great. Excuse me while I put my lungs in the toilet over here.
Yeah. I see you come here also, to lose yourself into stars.
It's quiet.
This is where you'll be time to pay the piper.
One thing I've discovered is that some things are better left buried.
Mm.
Good night, Ambassador. Franz. The hell kind of a name is Franz?
Right.
Oh, yeah, Nia's right. Getting Veer assigned
Night,
to
old
Minbar.
friend.
Thank you.
Sleep well.
In a way that has to be comforting, knowing he's down there when he was going to go off to sea.
Right. There it is.
All right, Brent, Voice in the Wilderness, parts 1 and 2. If you're still here with us, thank you for being here. This is a longer than usual, and we knocked out 2 episodes, and Brent, we talked a lot, and so I know we have a couple things we wanted to save for this portion of the show. What do you got?
I got one thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There might be some other things, but this is really the one thing. Jeff, I love this. I love this.
Dr. Allen putting a lab coat here.
I promise I'm not going to pontificate here at all. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to revel in the genius that is J. Michael Straczynski.
Okay.
All right. One thing you and I both, me particularly though, have long criticized JMS for is for introducing things and then not really doing much with them.
Yeah.
Like making their contribution to the overall story actually be rather minimal. One of those things has been the Great Machine. One of those things has been
the Great Egg.
The Great Egg. Absolutely. One of those things has been organic tech. Like, what is organic tech? He never really explains what organic tech is. We don't it's the thing where they get put into the ships, and we know the Vorlon do a thing, and we know there's the white stars are kind of made of organic tech, but they're just there. Like, it's not really a thing. Like it should have. It just felt like it needed to be this much more in your face, upfront piece of the overall story. But also, what the hell is it, Jeff?
Okay.
You know what I realized at whatever point in this episode I started going, oh my God, the Great Machine is organic tech.
Okay.
Think about it. It's a machine combined with an organic being, and it needs that organic being to be controlled and to function.
Okay. So it's very much like the shadow ships that need the human CPU.
Yeah. And whatever the Borlon thing is, like this thing is organic tech. By the time you and I are done watching this episode, we understand well enough how the Great Machine works. We understand that it requires I'm not going to say human being, but it requires a being, a sentient being.
Yes.
Okay. Being plugged in. And that sentient being is but their mind is fully active and they're fully moving around and they're, hologramming into wherever they can get to. And this machine is huge, is great, and can just blast people from miles beneath the surface. Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is what organic tech is.
Yeah.
Which tells me while this Varn and his folks may have been there 500 years, whatever they say in War Without End, we'll have to see when we get there. This had to be a much more ancient machine that had been there for a very long time. Whatever, regardless. But Jeff, here's the thing. JMS is doing a fabulous job in this moment of showing, not telling, what organic tech is. That by the time we get to humans in the things of the shadow ships, by the time we get to, hey, Vorlon ship, Kosh just died, go do your thing. Right? We kind of have this innate sense of really what organic tech is, even though it's never really been explained. And I got to tell you, and my guess is the more we go through this second watch, the more we're going to see, and we're going to see how organic tech works. Like I'm thinking right now to the White Stars.
Mm-hmm.
How do the White Stars work? How are they controlled? Isn't it literally like the pilots or like the telepathic pilots or whatever? They're like sitting in these little chairs with like their hands in goo and just doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they're doing.
And then Lanier over there hitting a couple buttons.
That's organic tech at work.
Yeah.
Like they're using the stuff. Like these are the things that are organic tech that's shown to us, not necessarily told, hey, here's what organic tech is and here's how it works. I would have still probably appreciated something like that. But watching this on a second watch, I'm now seeing that that's exactly what that is. And this is what JMS is doing, preparing us for whatever we're going to get later in the future. I still think we could have used more organic tech. It could have been more at the forefront, not just this undergirding of, some of our ships are like this. I feel like it could still have been more. But in terms of teaching us what organic tech is and how it works, this episode is all we really needed, or at least a big chunk of what we really needed.
So I think I look at the organic tech thing differently than you do. I feel like we've always known what it is. Like we got a glimpse of that in Infection. There's the episode where Kosh's ship communicates, with Sheridan or, and like says words or whatever.
It does?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, on the side. Like it does. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
So like, I think that we've known what it is. My beef for the longest time, and I think it was part of your beef also, was so what?
Yeah.
You got organic tech, okay? Like good whoop-de.
It's in the world.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's in the world. Yeah.
And here, Texas Analyst makes a good point on the story piece of it, but the Vorlons took the time to create actual organic ships with their own minds and intelligence. Shadows took a shortcut of using sentient beings to be the so I think organic tech, I think it was meant for sort of that. Like, how do you approach organic tech says a lot about like your alignment, or whatever. But more than anything, I just think it's this line of we're at a technological point where we can utilize organic tech. It just says this is a technologically superior whatever because they can utilize organic. I think it was that simple. And I think with this episode, with Infection, with other ones, they took a tremendous amount of time to make that point. That was not clearly made, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because here we are on a second watch still talking about it.
Oh, right. I don't know. I just, yes. And I still, like I say, I'm with you on the idea that it needed to be more than what it was. But in terms of at least understanding what organic tech is and how it works,
this was great.
This is what told us. And that's the thing I think I like. This told us what organic tech is, even though at least Brent didn't realize it his first go around that that's what it was doing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I hella respect out of something like that. I really like that. So
that's cool. That is exciting.
I know we said a few times like, hey, we should talk about that later. We should do whatever. Did we have anything we wanted to discuss now at this point, or did you have something you picked up on and wanted to dive into?
No, I think we talked about it all during the episode.
Yeah.
I think from a messages standpoint, there was some stuff we both captured to talk about later. We talked about it during the episode, but I think the thing that we picked up on this time around that we really didn't the first time was just the emphasis on hope.
Yeah.
And I think we dissected that pretty thoroughly in the episode itself, but watching this a second time, it's shocking to me that we didn't pick up and talk about that a lot on our first watch, because I feel like that is the message of this two-parter.
I think hope, you're right, it is the message of this two-parter. It is the thing that resounds all the way through from the moment we meet Drawl. Not before we meet Drawl. From the moment that Delenn is having that conversation with Sinclair and Londo, Ivanova, I don't know, whatever, earlier, where she says really that fantastic line, without hope that things get better and that our inheritors will inherit a world better than richer than our own, life is pointless and evolution is overrated. Right? Without hope, basically, life is pointless.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Drawl comes in. What's the third principle of sentient life? Self-sacrifice. He's going to self-sacrifice himself. Why? For the hope. He's drained of hope for his own people, but he has a little bit of hope left that if he does this, it's going to help fix his people.
Yeah. And his
for what
friend.
they should be.
Exactly. Yeah. He has hope for multiple layers of the egg again.
And what does Delenn say right there at the very end? I didn't write it down, but what did she say?
I didn't write it, but she's talked about that. Self-sacrifice for a friend.
Hey, here's a question. Because of him doing that, do you think that somehow gave Delenn a little more hope?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
She was about to lose her friend. He was going to go to sea, but him sacrificing himself for this thing, it's like, it's sad, right? It's sad he's gone, but he's also right there.
He's also right there. But what does that inspire Delenn to do?
What are you thinking? I think
it inspires Delenn to carry on the work of making people better.
I was going to say, I think it helps inspire her to do the chrysalis.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like I mean, A-Leads, I don't know that Drawl came in here and say, I want to make you go into a chrysalis and change your form. But because he did this, it left her with a renewed sense of hope that things could be better.
Yeah.
And gave her the courage to do what the right next step was for her, which she determined was to be the own self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yep.
She is going to fulfill the prophecy because that's what she wants to do, because she's Delenn, and damn it, she's going to do whatever Delenn wants to do because Delenn's a badass, man.
She is.
You know?
Until they decide she's not.
Well, until she gets married. Like, sorry.
She's not wrong.
You know, but she certainly outlived old dude. So anyway, by a lot.
Agreed.
Yeah. I think you're right, Jeff. The whole point here is hope.
I mean, even Varn's people, we've been searching for 500 years for this place.
Yeah.
You don't spend that much time searching for something without hope.
Right.
Especially with cool looking ships like theirs.
Right? Love it. Well, Jeff, those are some of the messages we found. But you know what? We're not just looking for messages on this rewatch here. We're not just looking for all the stuff that we missed the first time around. I feel like we caught a lot in this one that we missed the first time around. Maybe not so much that plays later into the show, which, first of all, listen, I'm going to give a shot while we're having this next segment. If there's something that Jeff and I missed this time around that's going to play later in the show, you guys, Council Chambers, this is where we need you guys. Drop it down in the chat. We're going to discuss that before we get out of here. But while the lag is catching up and they're having a chance to think about it and go through it, Jeff, one of the things we're doing is we're creating the 100% completely accurate, definitive, immutable ranking of Babylon 5 Season 1 for the second time. Our current top 5, Jeff, is Signs Importance, Deathwalker, The War Prayer, Sky Full of Stars, Believers, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff going all the way down. Jeff, does this crack the top 5? And if not, where does it go?
It cracks the top 5, and just barely. Brent, it's going to be the number 5 episode.
Believers.
It's pushing Believers down, but I feel like when
we're doing this together as one episode.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that I said it between episodes, but on balance, this is still not a two-parter.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of fill in this one, which is why it's going to, I mean, it was great, and I loved so much of it, but it's not going to get higher than episodes like Sky Full of
Here's the
Stars.
thing, though. Can I defend that just a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. without that fill, without the room to breathe. Okay, like if we're just talking about the plot itself, you're right. No way this needs to be a two-parter. But when we're talking about chopping this full of messages, adding in some character moments, those sorts of things, not even necessarily world building, although it did that too. When we would not have had room to have the discussions you and I had tonight had this all been condensed into, I mean, this would have been Severed Dreams or Into the Fire, where we're just like the whole time. Because it's just, oh, it's an amazing episode and it's just moving so fast. You know what I mean? So I think while I agree with you, it doesn't need to be a two-parter. Because it was able to do some things it wouldn't have been able to do otherwise, that both you and I have a lot of respect for when episodes do.
My first thought was you could take out the Garibaldi Elise Hampton story and then it all fits very cleanly in a thing, but that's another string in the hope message.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you consider everything else the A plot, because it kind of all is doing its thing, Garibaldi's thing is complete B plot. It's an example of when B plot and A plot line up together.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah, I think it works.
So, new number 5. I like
number
it.
5.
Well, Jeff, that's going to do it for us this week. Oh, wait, anything in the chat from you guys over there? No, they didn't have it. Ron asked if we talked about Londo yet, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
And we did talk about him a bit during the episode. I know Ron came in while we were in the middle. Any other thoughts about Londo? I know we talked about him at the beginning and the whole anger issue that he was having and all that. Any other thoughts about Londo and his sudden ability to pilot a thing?
Oh, it's Fraulis 12. He's, he's a hero of the war. But I think the key point there was really the piece that Londo was self-sacrificing. He when he accepted that keeper, he was totally exemplifying that third principle of sentient life.
Yeah. Yeah. And he calls it out. He says, I've always tried to do this, or I saw myself doing this or going out like this. What I forget exactly what he said.
That's something brave, noble, and futile,
Yeah. And this is how I'm going to go out.
And people in the chat weren't wrong. Like what he did was effective and it worked, but it also wasn't like the plan. And for him, God, those scenes at the end of season 5 of him sitting alone in the dark on his throne, oh my God. Oh,
yeah.
Guy's a hero, man.
Right?
An evil, horrible hero. It was great.
Right. Well, Jeff, that's going to do it for us this week on A Voice in the Wilderness. Put this one into the books. Second watch, done. Next week, Jeff, buckle in, buddy. Strap in. We've got a big one. A huge one. Babylon Squared. Now, Jeff, I need you to contain yourself because what we're going to talk about right now is not what you thought of Babylon Squared. What I need you to go all the way back to when we watched Voice in the Wilderness Part 2 for the first time. And we first heard the name of the episode, Babylon Squared. What did you think it was going to be about?
Luckily, we have these episodes in our podcast and YouTube feeds where I can go back and see what it was. And I did because I'm a professional and I prepared. But I thought that Babylon Squared was going to be a copy of Babylon 5, maybe a little out of phase. It's going to show up and there's not going to be anybody on board. And then they're going to go over there. They're going to find clues and hints. We're going to learn, ultimately, Brent, I said, we're going to learn about the history of the prior Babylon stations.
You were so close.
I know.
You were so close. The only place where you messed up was there's a copy of the Babylon 5 station. No!
Right. No, we're going to back here.
We're literally going to find one of the other Babylon stations, and then everything you just said is absolutely correct.
Yeah, everything else happens. And I think to myself, there's no Babylon Squared. With what we know to this point, it has to be another Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Until it isn't. What did you, my friend, predict?
Well, I said I came up with this very clever and unique story all off the top of my head that I think just would have made it would have made a good Star Trek episode.
You think maybe? Yeah.
What I said was there's going to be 2 Babylon 5 stations that are existing in different phases, but they're sharing like a power source or something. And when they don't understand that each other is there. And basically I did the whole Voyager episode with the 2 things. And that's where I went with it. And if you don't know what episode of Voyager I'm talking about, you really should go watch it because it's a fantastic
episode.
I forget the name of it. Jeff probably knows off the top of his head.
I don't.
Oh, Jeff.
I know.
Man.
To be really honest, in the past
season 3.
In the past 3 years, I found myself watching less and less Star Trek. And not like because I
haven't
don't
had time for Star Trek.
exactly. It's not that I don't want to watch it. It's just that we're doing all this other.
We're doing
awesome
this.
stuff.
All of my TV watching time is wrapped up in Babylon 5, Stargate, and Timeless. Lately is really what I've been watching. No, you're right. There's a lot of TV I haven't been watching. Outside, like I watched the new Star Trek like pretty close to as it comes out.
Yeah,
but that's about it. I will tell you what I did just watch though.
Yeah,
in real time. Here's what I just watched. I got to watch the Voyager documentary.
Really? Oh, because you were one of the
I was one of the backers, and I got a digital release for it.
I won't ask you to spill any of the goods. I'm eager for that one.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you? I did the thing where I stopped the credits at the end and I looked for my name. I was like, yeah there it is.
Like zoom really big.
Yeah. Yeah. So
awesome. Well, hey everybody, we're gonna see you next week. Thanks for joining us for this incredibly deep view of A Voice in the Wilderness. I'm looking forward to next week.
3-hour recording here, Jeff.
Yeah, here's the thing. Raw recording here, we just eclipsed 3 hours.
I think YouTube's we're gonna hit this. It'll be right around an hour, maybe give or take a few minutes. But
and shout out to our incredible council chambers, most of which stuck around this whole time also.
Yeah. You guys
amazing. You're so cool. It's great.
Thank God we didn't start this at like 11 o'clock at night, Jeff.
Right, like we normally would.
Yeah.
But you know what? For all of you who would love to be a part of these things as well, just go to our Patreon page. Council Chambers is the tier to subscribe to, and you can also join us as we do these recordings. If you aren't in a point where you want to do that, that's totally cool. Just make sure that wherever you're watching or listening to us, you can help us out a lot by liking and subscribing, commenting, just interacting in general with the show. But the one thing you can do beyond anything else that makes a big difference and we truly, truly appreciate is share this show with a friend of yours or even an enemy of yours. If you want to make them listen to me and Brent talk about old sci-fi shows and what we think about them, just share this show. It would mean the world to us.
Torture beyond torture.
Right? All right, I'm going to wrap up. We'll see you guys next...
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah, what's up, Brent?
Mr. Akin, fire.
Yeah, it's not working, sir.
Damn it! Didn't you put a new drawl in?
I only had a C, and it needs a double A drawl.
Do you know what this means?
Mr. Allen, whatever it is, it can't be that bad.
If you try to kiss me, I'm going to break your arm.
I mean, we're not some deep space franchise. This station is about something.